So, I'm making this video because I got sent a link to something I wanted to make a response about, and I had too much to say to basically write it down. So, before watching this, I suggest that anyone interested to know what I'm talking about, they should watch Why I Stopped Watching Porn by Ran Gavreli. I'm bad with names. I didn't hear him say his name, so. Anyway, yeah, you should watch that before this. Was sent to me by someone I consider a really, really close friend. And I guess the meaning behind he sent it is because he knows what I do for a job and is probably out of concern a little bit. Anyway, the other video, as in the gist, it talks about why this person stopped watching porn. And as soon as I read the title, my mind just went through a million things. I'm like, he's right. Shouldn't. But as he was talking through, I found myself agreeing and disagreeing with a lot of things. Now, as most people that will probably watch this, you know what I do, and you will know that actually I absolutely love what I do. And on the same time, even though probably the majority of people, I reckon, will consider what I do pornography, I don't. Anyway, as usual, getting off topic, he goes on to say about the problems of porn. And this part I found myself really agreeing with because it's hugely problematic. You go onto any sex site and all you see is violence and anger and just getting more and more extreme and humiliation and really disturbing things. And he's right, you will find rape categories, which is the most fucked up thing that anyone could think of, to be turned on by something so horrible. And it's disgusting. And I know because I've been there. I've been to porn sites, I have seen all of these categories, I have watched many of these categories, I have watched things I didn't want to watch and felt disgusted with myself afterwards. It's nasty, it wasn't helpful. It did its job at the time, what I wanted, but the feeling that you get with yourself is disgusting afterwards. And this porn, I agree. I don't think anyone should watch it. It gives people completely the wrong impression of sex and how things should be. But I think we have to be honest with ourselves. At least most people that were watching this, any male watches porn. We watch porn. That happens. Whether it's good for us or it's not, we do it. And yeah, it has a huge effect on our lives. And personally, I can talk from a very personal experience. My ex-boyfriend had a porn addiction. Now, lots of people hear porn addiction and they don't take it seriously. It's not cocaine, it's not alcohol, it's not gambling. But actually, it's a really good example to put against gambling, because what porn addiction does to you is you start watching it and you become dependent on it. And this dependency is to do with the endorphins that your body creates. So obviously when you're turned on, you're creating endorphins, just like when you dance and when you have fun with your friends. And when you're producing these endorphins, you have receptors that are really bad at the science explaining of this. You have receptors in your brain that, oh my god, that take these endorphins. But when you start producing them too much, and you might start producing them too much because you're watching too much porn, eventually they get blocked. And getting blocked means you're not getting the same high that you used to. So in the process of porn, you're watching, normal guy, girl getting it together. And then you watch it like a couple times a day, and eventually you're just like, I'm kind of bored of this, because you're not getting those endorphin highs that you were from originally. And so you take it to the next step. You're like, okay, let's try 2 guys and a girl. And yeah, this is working. This is awesome. You're getting that high again. You're getting that excited. And sorry, my cat is distracting. And yeah, so it carries on, it builds up and it builds up, and you just keep going further and further. And what you're doing by going further and further is you're desensitizing yourself to what I would consider not even the normal stuff, because porn is never really normal sex. But you're still desensitizing, you're taking it further and further until you get to a point where you've gone further than you ever thought you would. You're watching stuff that, you know, a month ago you would have been like, that is sick. I can't believe anyone would watch that. Well, you're sitting there masturbating to it. And in my personal experience, this is exactly what happened to my ex-boyfriend. Before we were together, actually. He was actually very honest about it. He came into the relationship telling me that he had a porn addiction. I didn't really know how to take this because I had no experience. I didn't take it seriously, like most people. But I soon realized the problems that it caused. He could not get an erection with me. He could to begin with, but it just wouldn't last, and I found it really weird. But I was supportive, and I didn't know, the problem with porn was causing the problem, but he did. He had researched it. He was a very intelligent guy that had got himself into some really bad, shitty stuff. And yeah, eventually, we're gonna working through it, and it wasn't really working. Like, he resorted to using Viagra and cat. No, he didn't use cat. He just used Viagra. But basically, as it goes on, it wasn't really working. And then I came across, actually, what he was really into. Now, I won't go into that, but you have to believe me when I say it's the worst possible porn there probably is. I was disgusted. I felt sick to my stomach. I wanted to scream. I couldn't believe, because he told me what the kind of porn that he was into. And for very obvious reason, he'd hidden this. And then I'd come across it. And it was just, I couldn't believe it. Someone I loved and I was really in love with was watching this. And at that moment, many things happened, but basically I ran away from him and I just said I wanted to end it, and that's it. And that was the eye-opener for him, that I was leaving. And lots of things happened anyway. We got back together to the point where I was just going to help him through this porn problem. And we weren't going to be together, but we were going to help each other, blah, 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 things. We ended up this is the non-important stuff. What is important is he was disgusted with himself, yet he was still doing it. He had erection problems, and he was hating himself for doing this, but he was really addicted. This is what addiction is. You have absolutely no fucking control over it, and getting rid of that addiction is getting the control again. And I'm not going to say it was, oh yeah, he just stopped watching porn, it just worked like that. It didn't. He kept going back to it, even though he knew how it made me feel. And he was doing it secret, and I would catch him, or he would tell me. That was the good thing. He did actually really want to get rid of it. But anyway, eventually, after a while, it took a lot of months for him, and he came off it. And we passed some of the most horrible times I have ever passed in my life. And all because of porn. Now, it's very easy for me to just hit here and explain the story, and you don't really understand the feeling that I felt at the time, what he felt. It was horrible. You need to put your brain into the porn addiction is a real addiction. And for this reason, I absolutely hate it. Now, we go back to the other side of the story where I disagree with with the video that I watched with. Because he says it's prostitution. Now, from my point of view, I don't see prostitution as a bad thing. It is a really bad thing in a lot of areas, but I don't see it as a bad thing if it's done right. I have absolutely no problem with someone who is sexually open and wants to sell their body. I think we should be able to do whatever we like with our body. But yes, the majority of cases is something that happens not because people want it to happen. So I understand this. And a lot of porn films are prostitution. The there's women suffering and not wanting to do what they do. But what I do, and what many people would consider as porn, is not. Now, what I do is sexual, and it can be very sexual sometimes. And yes, I'm technically getting paid for it, but at the same time, I'm doing what I want to do. Now, we could really get into the reasons why I got into this. Did it have to do with my past experiences, my boyfriend's sort of thing? It's kind of ironic, actually, that I helped him get off porn, and now I'm doing something very similar to porn. But it's not. What I'm doing is, for me, a connection. And this doesn't mean everybody else that works on the same site as I do. They do things the way they want to do things, and that's fine. And some of them I look and I'm like, ooh. And I'm pretty sure they would come into a room like, what is this girl doing? She's just chatting shit. But it's more than just the sexual stuff. Yes, I get naked. Yes, we do sexual stuff. But for me, and for the majority of the people that come and see me and help me, it's not about that. It's about the connection. Now, this is where I think is a good sexual thing that I'm doing. It's about the connection. People are enjoying the company and the sexualness to talk to, I guess, a naked girl on the internet who sometimes can make them laugh. So this is where I find it differently to the talk I just listened to. He wants to, well, I don't think he wants to, he just wants people to stop watching porn. And I think that would be a really happy-go-lucky solution to just, oh, let's just get rid of porn, because generally porn is a really bad thing. But in my job, I have come across people who also make porn. But it's not the porn that you think of. It's not porn with no hands. It's not porn with no emotions. It's real people having real sex. And it's very sexy. In fact, I will link to a couple of things that I think are, you know, pornographically, healthily, emotionally healthy. I think I repeated myself there twice. But one of the people is Vex. Is someone I came across, and she's an artist, and what she does I think is really beautiful, and I think it's healthy. I don't agree with the general porn industry of let's see how many guys we can get to jizz on a girl's face. Woo! You know, that's not healthy. I'm very sure 99% of the people that film this stuff don't enjoy it. Well, maybe the guys do, but you know, as a general rule, I suppose most girls don't. I think it's important to have a good, healthy sexual relationship with anyone. You have any sexual relationship. He's right about that. But I don't think the reality is that people are just going to stop watching porn. I don't think it is. So I like to think I am part of the slightly changing movement. Let's call myself porn for a while, even though I don't consider myself. I'm porn, but I'm different. I'm not your everyday, I'm gonna go fuck the plumber and he's just gonna penetrate me in every single hole that he can. And I'm gonna just, you know, take it and then wipe my mouth clean and it's gonna be good. I'm not that porn. I'm porn that's real. Mainly, yeah, because I'm alone and so there's no one, I guess, to abuse me sort of thing. But mainly because I'm doing it because I want to. Now, this is the main disagreement I had with the video. He assumed that no one wanted to do any sort of things. Now, I'm a very sexual person, and I really enjoy being sexual. So that's as far as you can go with saying that I want to do this. And I enjoy doing this. And I enjoy filming and recording myself in different ways, and it's exciting, and I like to be artistic with it. But I do like to think that if I am porn, I'm the right kind of porn, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm going too far into this, and in general, I just think, yes, a lot of you should stop watching porn, at least as much as you do, or at least start watching the right kind of porn, the one that isn't gonna have a problem on future relationships because you're gonna know how to treat your partner in bed. He's very right about the laughter thing. Best sex is with laughter, and the best relationships need it. You can't really have a relationship without laughter. So, in my response to my friend, I guess, who sent me this, who might be worried about what I do, I love what I do, and I think it's a good thing what I do. I think I could possibly be a good influence, maybe on a handful of people, to not watch the wrong kind of porn. I don't think porn's going to leave. I guess it would be good if it did, but we're sexual creatures, and we're always going to record and remember and push boundaries. Actually, before I stop this is something he goes into about the violence sort of thing that I'd like to talk about really quickly. The violence thing. I completely agree. It makes you really angry. The first time I had sex with this particular boyfriend, he was very rough. I guess I'm quite stable in how I feel about things sexually, and I'll very much say yes or no if I want something to happen and didn't want something to happen. So I was okay. And I enjoyed the moment, and I enjoyed the roughness and the playfulness because he was a good guy. But I know the possible effects that had he done this to somebody else who wasn't so sexually as comfortable as I was, it could have had really traumatic effects. Or had he not been the nice guy that he was, he could have really taken things too far or not listened to me when I said no to something. So for these reasons, I completely think porn really deceives us on what should be normal. But it's not going to go away. So maybe we just need to work on changing it. And by we, I don't know who I mean. I just believe that porn as we know it could be something that's artistic and beautiful rather than something, no, don't go there. The same with drugs. People are like, drugs are bad, it really messes with people, it fucks people's lives. It does. But it doesn't fuck everyone's lives. And it's all about doing it right with the right people at the right scenario and, being sensible. And that's exactly the same with porn. It's not gonna leave us, and by saying no porn, we must ban it from every case, it's just gonna open a bigger black market where more people are gonna suffer. So it's just about changing it. Changing it so it's healthy for us emotionally. Yeah, I think that's me done.